Okay, hi Midnight Phoenixes. Today I'm going to talk about something that is quite close to my heart and I thought you might know about, and just in case you didn't, I'd talk about it and explain.
We are not what you think we are. We are golden. We are golden.
So one of the things you need in your everyday diet is vitamin A. Now, if you're a meat eater, you can get that from eating meat. Interestingly enough, the most vitamin A rich food you can eat is the eye. If you're a veggie, you can get it from eating vegetables. But vegetables don't actually have vitamin A in itself in them. What they do have is a thing called a precursor, which is beta-carotene. And basically, when you consume that, bacteria in your gut can then convert it into vitamin A. Fun fact here, there are actually more bacterial cells lining your gut than there are human cells in your whole body. Bet you didn't know that. I didn't know that actually. On a more serious note though, every year 500,000 people go blind as a result of a lack of vitamin A, and what's even worse is it has a detrimental effect on your immune system. So that means even if you don't die as a direct result of having a lack of vitamin A, if you hadn't had the deficiency, your body might have been able to ward off diseases like cholera, which could then ultimately kill you. And it's estimated 1 to 2 million people every year do die as a result of a lack of vitamin A. The World Health Organization actually thinks that 120 million people are affected by it right now. Now, most plants do actually contain the gene for producing beta-carotene, but the problem is, because it's used in photosynthesis, in photosystems, it's only actually found in the places that photosynthesis occur, so like the leaves. And if you actually think about all the things we eat, we hardly ever eat the leaves. I mean, rice. Rice represents a massive chunk of the world's diet, and we always eat the rice, but we don't eat the leaves. And the rice actually itself doesn't have any beta-carotene in. But in 2000, after an 8-year-long genetic engineering project, scientists finally managed to solve this problem. What they did is they took the precursor molecule that's found in rice and they added phytoene synthase, which is an enzyme that's found in daffodils. What this did was it converted the precursor into phytoene. They then added the CRT1 soil enzyme, which converted the phytoene into lycopene. Finally, by adding a whole bunch of enzymes that were already expressed in rice, they managed to convert this lycopene into loads and loads of different carotenoids. Now, you've probably heard of crossbreeding and selective breeding happening in plants to get the plants you want, and basically that's exactly what they did here, so that they could select for the rice that had the beta-carotene in it, and the beta-carotene in it made it go golden, hence the name golden rice. But people questioned whether it would actually be any use in trying to solve the problem of the vitamin A deficiency. And they had a fair point. At the time, you'd have had to eat loads and loads and loads of golden rice to just get your daily quota of vitamin A. So the scientists went back and they spent 5 years doing further crossbreeding and selective breeding, and in 2005 they'd come up with a type of rice that had 20% more beta-carotene present. Now what that meant was 1 meal a day could provide someone with all the vitamin A they needed. But there was a problem. All this new science came out at the height of the backlash against genetic engineering. Literally every headline was saying Frankenfoods and mutant salmon, and that meant that people didn't really look at golden rice and didn't see the full potential it had. And what's more, even though biotechnological companies and researchers said they'd offer golden rice to farmers absolutely free so they wouldn't have to pay when they replanted it, places like Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth still had problems with it because they thought that planting golden rice would reduce biodiversity, could risk contamination, and they also claimed, which is true, we didn't fully understand all the implications of eating genetically engineered food. But occasionally people do worry that if you eat genetically engineered food, you're going to become like genetically engineered yourself. That's not true at all. I mean, if you eat a tomato, you don't suddenly get the tomato DNA and turn into a tomato, do you? Okay, rant over. But the fact still stands. Thousands and thousands of children are going blind every year because of a lack of vitamin A, and so many more people are dying because of it. We don't actually have any better solution at all to offer at the moment. So for me, personally, I'm backing golden rice all the way. I'd love to know your thoughts on the matter, and if you leave them in comments, I promise I'll read every single one.